Hey, lizard people. Let's talk a little bit about bearded dragons closing their eyes when being stroked or pet. So, for bearded dragons, when they close their eyes, this is actually a sign of discomfort. Many animals close their eyes to display trust or pleasure, like your dog would. But for these reptiles, it's a sign that they can't escape you, and they really want you to stop for the moment and maybe go away give them a break. In nature, eye contact is meant as a threat or a challenge to other bearded dragons and creatures. You're probably familiar knowing this with apes or monkeys, how not to look them in the eyes. This is the same thing from bearded dragon to bearded dragon or bearded dragon to other predators. Prolonged and intense eye contact against a larger predator is just too much for them. They don't want to seem like they're being challenging, so they may want to close their eyes as an automatic safety measure. This way, it visually gets rid of the threat for them. But while this is the most common reason associated with eye closing, it's not the only one. It's possible it could be a result of infection or poor habitat setup, and these are things we're going to talk about here in a second. This behavior is one of the most commonly confused behaviors among bearded dragon pet owners. A lot of them think when their pet is closing their eyes that it's like, he really likes it, putting him to sleep or something of this nature. So it's easy to get it confused. There's very many videos out there and here on YouTube where these quote unquote experts are putting their dragons to sleep, or they're exclaiming how cute it is when they close their eyes, things like that. That's really just not the case. So, like, as humans, and this is why people confuse it, is because as humans, we usually close our eyes when something feels good. So, take for example, if you ever had a massage, that usually while you're getting the massage, are your eyes like wide open looking around, or are they usually somewhat shut or closed altogether? You're enjoying the moment. By the same token, whenever we're also afraid, what do most people do? We usually close our eyes tightly to escape the threat visually. So with bearded dragons, eye closing is more in line with the latter. They're trying to escape the threat visually. They close their eyes because they're uncomfortable, they're threatened. This is their way of communicating. They want you to stop if they're doing this while you're petting them. Now, this could be because of several reasons. They could be afraid, or they just want some space. And this is far often more common with people who haven't built a strong bond with their bearded dragon. And once you build a bond with your pet, it's not necessarily that they enjoy the petting at this stage, but more that they tolerate it because they have learned to build trust with you. So if your bearded dragon is closing its eyes when being held, but not necessarily while you're stroking or petting at the top of its head, this is still a sign of stress. And this is actually even more stressful for the bearded dragon because their entire body is at the mercy of someone else. So they're telling you to put them down, leave them alone for a moment. But if you pick them up and your bearded dragon eyes are open, they're looking around, that means they're feeling fine. It's just when they close their eyes that you need to be, concerned about how stressed they might be at that moment. So, in order to get your reptile to really enjoy being held, it takes a lot of patience, and being consistent and knowing how to properly pick up your reptile helps a lot. And then just spend that time taming it and really building that trust so that, when you do go to pick them up, they won't have their eyes closed and they won't be stressed out. So if your bearded dragon is closing its eyes when basking, this is actually normal behavior, but we don't, there's no exact reason behind this that people are aware of because it could mean a few different things, and it's hard to really pinpoint one exact reason. It could be that your pet is merely resting, because the bearded dragons do close their eyes when they sleep, although this usually happens only in the dark. So the other thing it could mean is that your UVB light in the basking spot is too close for comfort. There have been cases recorded where reptiles have went blind because the light is too powerful or too close to them, the way it's set up in their terrarium or enclosure. So, if this is the case, you might want to experiment with moving the light further away if your bearded dragon is consistently closing their eyes when basking, because this might help. And you just kind of have to find that sweet spot and see if your pet starts to keep their eyes open when basking after making your adjustments. So, if your bearded dragon is closing its eyes throughout the day without your presence, or without really noticing you, and just randomly throughout the day they're keeping their eyes closed, it may be a sign of eye infection. So, and this is really hard to determine early on, but you just need to keep an eye on your bearded dragon to see if this is what it might be, because if they're closing their eyes through different points of the day, you've left them alone, and if you don't catch this, eventually they might not be able to open their eyes at all, or may even become blind. So if they're closing their eyes just for long periods of time or randomly throughout the day, you might want to take them to the vet for a checkup. That's what I recommend. You also will notice if as the situation gets worse, discharge or pus around their eyes. So this is something it's very important to catch early if you can, and get it treated. So you may be wondering if all of these eye closing reasons really also apply to baby bearded dragons, and the answer is yes. So don't be fooled in comparing baby bearded dragons into how baby humans are. This is something a lot of pet owners do just because it's what you're familiar with is children. So our human babies will spend a lot of their time with their eyes closed when they're born, and this is of no concern. That's very normal when they're first born. But however, for bearded dragons, they're born nearly fully developed. All they have to do is finish growing into their adult size over the course of a year or so after being born. So keeping their eyes closed, other than when it's dark, isn't just the baby sleeping a lot. It's a sign of the same possible things that we've discussed earlier. So eye closing is more common in baby bearded dragons because they're more stressed out to their environment, because they're new to this, they're new to everything. So to just be patient, take the time to bond with them, keep them calm, and if you're enjoying this video, I'd just like to ask for you to take a moment to click that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a comment below. I enjoy making these educational and informational videos. So if you like these and you find them helpful, please subscribe. So now on to if your bearded dragon is closing only one eye. This is not a winking behavior that you should look at as something cute the reptile is doing. If they're closing one eye on one eye only, it's a sign of something being wrong. Almost always there's a reason that it would only be one eye. So it's not going to happen because of external stimulus from you petting. This will all be internal. And what that means is it could be some type of infection or a parasite. Because bearded dragons getting treated for parasites always show this type of behavior in comparison to those that are parasite free. The other most common reason that they would only be closing one eye is if there's a foreign object stuck in its eye. So just do a visual check in the area and see if you can notice anything in their eye visually. And sometimes you'll be able to dislodge it yourself and it's no big deal. After this, see if it resolves in a day. Give it around 24 hours, the one eye closing. If it doesn't, go ahead and immediately take your pet to the vet, get them on checkup, and hopefully if it is something like parasites or something like that, that will quickly be able to remedy the situation for you. So, do they really like being petted? This is really what this is going to boil down to for a lot of people, and the answer is really yes and no. I know that's not really the best clear answer, but that's just the truth. So, and the reason behind this is because bearded dragons have built a bond with their owner, and they're used to their environment, and and their surroundings haven't changed much, and they've gotten comfortable. They're going to seem to enjoy the touch or being cuddled. And while they do display these types of behavior more than other reptiles, it's more that they learn to trust people more than other reptiles do. So rather than the act of them being touched, they're really responding to your scent and presence and not the touch. So at this point, if they're doing that, they're beginning to associate you with the person who feeds them. They know that they're safe around you, and they will seek you out in many instances because of these things of food and safety. However, if something is wrong, and say like even rearranges their furniture, little things like this can raise their stress, and petting them will cause them to result back to the closing their eyes and things like that until they become accustomed to their new environment, if that's what happens to have changed. So they won't want to be petted at the time. So, and it may raise their stress levels if you try to do that while they are going through whatever they may be experiencing. So I hope you found this information helpful, and I would just like to recap a little bit. So if your bearded dragon is closing its eyes, in most cases they're just telling you to back off and give them a little break. It is not because they dislike you, they just need a little space. If they close their eyes outside of you petting them, it could be a sign of infection or parasites, so don't be afraid to get it checked out. So if you enjoyed this video and you want more information on bearded dragons, I have a ultimate handbook that I have put together all about bearded dragons. I mean, I have covered everything from A to Z. This is great for new owners or somebody just thinking about getting a bearded dragon. It's really, really in-depth, and you can find the description. You can find a link in the description below and get some more information on my bearded dragon handbook there. Thanks for watching this video, and if you can give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment below, let me know what you thought. That would be great. There's more information in the description. You can check out our website, check out the Bearded Dragon Handbook, and tons of other information there on our website. So thanks again for watching. Have a good one. Until the next time. Bye.